I'm excited about my new book, Every Day of Friday, How to Be Happier.
Joel Osteen once opened a sermon smiling brightly, announcing his new book Every Day of Friday, a guide to finding happiness 7 days a week. Back then, the world saw him as the face of unstoppable prosperity, a preacher with a global media empire worth over $110 million. But behind the scenes, things were shifting, and within just 5 years, everything changed. By 2025, insiders claimed Joel had lost nearly $60 million of his fortune. His multi-million-dollar mansion quietly went up for sale. His private jet vanished from airport records. Staff members at Lakewood Church were laid off one by one. Slowly, silently, without statements or explanations. But the real shock isn't what he lost. The real shock is what Joel does for money now. The man who preached prosperity to millions is no longer earning primarily from preaching. His new income source is something his congregation never imagined, and with early years, the making of a legend. Joel Osteen was born on March 5, 1963, in Houston, Texas, the youngest of 6 siblings. His home wasn't ordinary. It was a house filled with camera cables, prayer circles, and the constant hum of church activity. His father, John Osteen, had walked away from the Southern Baptist denomination to build a church of his own. In 1959, he took an old feed store on the outskirts of Houston and converted it into the first Lakewood Church. 90 people showed up on opening day. None of them knew they were stepping into what would become one of the biggest churches in the world. John's preaching style wasn't traditional. He embraced charismatic worship, faith healing, speaking in tongues, things the old Baptist world considered unusual. But the methods worked. People came curious and left transformed. The church grew, and young Joel watched it all like an apprentice studying a master craftsman. He was never the loudest kid, never the most outgoing, and unlike his father, he didn't want the spotlight. Joel hated public speaking. He loved cameras, editing, and working behind the scenes. While the church expanded from 90 people to over 1,000 by the 1970s, Joel was busy learning how to run equipment, how to edit footage, how to shape a story without ever stepping onto a stage. But in 1981, his quiet world was shaken. A family miracle that changed everything. At 18, Joel watched doctors tell his mother, Dodie Osteen, that she had terminal liver cancer. They sent her home. No treatment, no options, no hope. Joel watched his father turn their living room into a prayer room. People gathered day and night, believing for a miracle when medicine had none to offer. Then unbelievable happened. Dodie recovered completely. No scientific explanation. Her healing became one of the foundational testimonies of Lakewood Church. Joel duplicated the tapes of his mother's story, packing them, labeling them, shipping them. He saw firsthand how a message, when delivered with conviction, could reshape lives. It was the first seed that later shaped his positivity-driven sermons. But even after witnessing a miracle, he still didn't want to preach. Not yet. The behind-the-scenes genius. Through the 1980s, Joel built Lakewood's media presence from nothing. He launched the first weekly TV broadcast using cheap equipment, borrowed rooms, and endless hours of learning by doing. By 1984, Lakewood services were airing internationally, reaching 100 countries. And Joel still hadn't preached a single sermon. Instead, he worked 12-hour days editing footage, organizing outfits so broadcasts matched,
directing camera crews,
securing sponsorship deals, expanding Lakewood's reach quietly but aggressively. While others saw him as the pastor's son, he was actually the architect of Lakewood's future. His decisions weren't small. In 1987, he convinced the church board to invest over $2 million in building a Houston-based TV station, KTBU TV 55. This risky move gave Lakewood a national platform. By the late 1990s, Joel had created a media empire without ever stepping onto the pulpit. But destiny had a different plan. Forever. In January 1999, after years of refusing to preach, Joel finally gave a single reluctant sermon. Just one. 6 days later, his father, John Osteen, died of a sudden heart attack. The church had no successor, no plan, no leader. Joel offered the role to his siblings. Each one declined. Victoria, his wife, quietly told him, "You were made for this, Joel. Step up." Joel agreed. On October 3, 1999, he became the senior pastor of Lakewood Church, an institution already running a $90 million annual operation. Almost immediately, donations dropped 20%. The church was in crisis. Joel used his own money to keep it alive. Then he made controversial changes, shortened sermons, added contemporary music, lightened the atmosphere, focused on hope instead of doctrine. Critics were furious, but people loved the new style. Church attendance skyrocketed, from 6,000 to 10,000 in months. Joel Osteen had accidentally become one of the most influential pastors in America. The expansion that shocked the world. Lakewood outgrew its building fast. In 2005, Joel moved the church into the former Houston Rockets arena, the massive Compaq Center. The renovation cost $100 million. The church took a giant loan. Many banks refused to fund the project, but it paid off. By 2005, Lakewood became the largest church in the United States. By 2010, Joel's sermons were broadcast to 200 million households worldwide. He built Spanish-language services, a multicultural staff, global tours, satellite broadcasts, a religious media empire unmatched by anyone else. But with fame came controversy. And money. A lot of money. The wealth that raised eyebrows. Joel and Victoria Osteen chose not to take salaries from the church. Instead, they lived off book royalties. But those royalties weren't small. Your Best Life now sold over 8 million copies. It earned him more than $55 million. His later books earned millions more. His live events earned hundreds of thousands per night. In 2004, they moved into a $10.5 million mansion in Houston's richest neighborhood, 17,000 square feet with 3 elevators and a guest house. Their annual property tax bill alone was over $250,000. Many people felt uncomfortable. How could a preacher of hope live like a billionaire? But the real storm was yet to come.